Another blockbuster busted. BlackBerry still singing the blues, and weather bursting big soda's bubble? That's all in tonight's Biz Blitz featuring Scott Martin and Rob Basso. First up, let's face it, it's hot. But soda companies are blaming cool, wet weather for a lack of sales in the second quarter. Scott, legitimate concern or just a convenient excuse?
Charles, listen, with retail and consumer products, I think the weather is always a convenient excuse. Much like the weather blaming, I blame my weather for the hair I have today. So listen, I'll tell you, Charles, here's the thing. I mean, this is what you do in retail. If the weather's bad, you blame it. If it's too good, you blame it. But if you look across the globe, there's a couple things going on for especially the sodas. One, a younger demographic is changing to, say, more water, more energy-based drinks. And all the explosive growth we saw in the emerging markets just isn't there because their economies are so weak.
You know, Rob, the carbonated space has been in trouble for a long time. First, Diet did very well, but this is the whole carbonated space, to Scott's point.
Well, I think most of the gains that you're seeing are from the non-carbonated divisions.
Right.
I mean, let's be serious. If you look back in the early 90s to the late 90s, they were growing at about 3% a year, regular soda carbonated products. And the 99 is when things started to slide. 2005, they started to slide significantly so, and that's what we're seeing now. People are just simply more healthy. They're more conscious about the things that they consume. So I can agree with Scott. I don't think the weather is everything.
Stop blaming the weather, guys. We know you just don't have the products people want anymore.
Right.
Okay, talking about products people want. A tip for Hollywood. Don't waste your money on these big budget blockbusters because those shoot 'em up, blast 'em up movies, they ain't making money. Pacific Rim bringing in only $38 million over the weekend. The budget, though, $190 million bucks. Rob, is it worth it for Hollywood to just stay away from these things?
Well, I don't think Hollywood's ever going to stay away from these big budget, films. You look at this World War Z with Brad Pitt. That was expected to do tremendous numbers. It's falling way behind what it was supposed to do. You look at the sequels. Sequels tend to do better than their original movies. My kids want to see sequels of Despicable Me. They look at The Lone Ranger.
So
who even knows what The Lone Ranger is?
These then? Why would Hollywood keep
well,
going?
I think they're optimistic that their big budget things and the big shoot 'em ups and their big stars can actually make a difference in their actual bottom line. It's my understanding that a film needs to gross 3 times what it costs them to make to really make a decent profit. 3 times.
That means we got some real big flops this year. Scott, $190 million, and this particular film didn't necessarily have big Hollywood names, although we've seen these Hollywood names fail this summer too. Maybe Hollywood should start thinking more like Wall Street, because I think the bottom line for Hollywood is everyone gets paid whether they're a flop or not.
Well, they do, yeah. I mean, the actors at least, Charles. But your point about like Wall Street is a pretty good one because I think it's more seasonal than anything. I mean, you guys see a lot of these high-profile movies pushed before the 4th of July when the actual weather is still kind of bad, so people maybe go to the movies. I mean, Man of Steel, Iron Man 3, Fast and the Furious 6, or 2500, whatever number it was, those all did great because, to Rob's point, that was the sequel that everybody wanted to see. But the Lone Ranger, I mean, who is that guy? What is this Pacific Rim? No iconic recognition is not going to bring people out.
We still don't know who the Lone Ranger is. Okay, let's shift gears here a little bit. By the way, guys, a good script and good acting, that helps sometimes as well. But more black and blues for BlackBerry. The price of the BlackBerry Z10 falling at just $49. $49 after 4 months. BlackBerry saying the price cut now is really completely normal. But Scott, BlackBerry's problems, they're far from just normal.
And, Charles, to what may be BlackBerry problem today might be iPhone's problem tomorrow, which might be Samsung's in the future. I mean, I think this is kind of the new regime of the smartphone, the high-end, say, smartphone market, which is high-end stuff at low-end prices. That benefits nobody on the company side and maybe the consumers, because at the end of the day, Charles, a lot of these phones can all do the same type of thing. They all have the abundance of technology that's out there, and a lot of the kids like to switch them around. So you're not seeing a lot of that brand, say, loyalty we used to have in the old days.
Yeah, but Rob, I got to tell you, at BlackBerry, to me, they got into an amazing position. They became lofty, comfortable, and stopped innovating. They had 2 CEOs, and they just put it in neutral, and I think they're paying the price for it.
You look at 2011, if you were a BlackBerry user, were you really happy with the service from BlackBerry? When you have a significant outage worldwide with your product or service,
every day,
that is very difficult to get people to come back to your brand. Yeah. iPhone, Samsung, they're doing a much better job at attracting the people that they want to buy their products. I was a diehard BlackBerry user. I had BlackBerry servers in my company. All my sales guys had it. I dumped them in favor for the iPhone, and I'm not going back, myself and millions of other people.
So would you pay more for an Apple product than a BlackBerry product for you know, just for the security.
I personally would, but I also think many others would, and that's exactly what's happening to poor BlackBerry or RIM.
All right, Rob, great. Scott, you guys are fantastic. We'll talk to you again soon.